down and the guys were like pushing him and he was throwing rocks at him. And I hollered, leave him alone, you little punks.
On July 23rd, 2022, a fearless bystander recorded the vicious murder of Brandon York, a homeless man gunned down in broad daylight in Farmington, New Mexico. Brandon was shot 9 times before his killer fled, but justice was in swift pursuit. The brave witness stepped forward, igniting a citywide manhunt as detectives raced to uncover what sparked this horrendous homicide.
And then he starts picking up rocks. You're picking up rocks, you're throwing rocks at me, okay? And I started putting my head down like that. And then that's whenever I went ahead and I tried to go for his kneecaps to immobilize it.
And now, the case hinges on the question, will the bold actions of this spectator be enough to seal the killer's fate?
911, what is the address of the emergency?
It's at the Safeway gas station on Main Street. Some kids just shot a guy. They're getting into a blue Ford Ranger pickup in the Safeway parking lot.
Oh, some kids just shot someone? What the? Holy smoke.
With over 800 cameras feeding into their real-time crime center, Farmington police scanned the city to track down the fleeing gunman.
Jules with me. Farmington Police Department, show me your hands! Show me your hands! Keep your hands out the window! Stick your hands out of the window! Stand up! Stop where you're at! You, sir! Turn around, both of you, face away! Walk back towards me! Keep walking! We're gonna go up. Get down on your knees! Put your hands on top of your head! Alright, you got hands. Thank you for cooperating.
The suspect, identified as Guillermo Aguirre, was swiftly arrested and brought in for questioning. For a long time, most parts of the interrogation footage remained unreleased until now.
So, and your name is Guillermo
Guillermo Aguirre, Mµrder the fourth, yes sir.
Okay, and your last name is Aguirre?
Aguirre, yes sir.
Okay. Let's see.
I'm sorry, I stink a little bit. I haven't showered in about a good 2-3 days. So
That's fine.
I'm trying to help homeless people, and I shouldn't even have my firearm on. But I acted in self-defense. I had to.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about. You mentioned a girlfriend. Was she present?
She was not. She was going into Smith's. There's some people that live behind Smith's, or so it is Smith's, Albertsons. Where's that? The area in which I was in, that's Smith's, right? Safeway?
Safeway.
That's Safeway. Okay, I get mixed up with Smith's and Safeway. There's some people that live in that back lot over there, and my whole thing is I was trying to get a landscaping deal started, and what I was doing is I was going around town trying to find homeless people that may want to help me with that.
Okay.
So initially, landscaping. So I got some people involved. They were all smoking dope and shooting up. They were doing all kinds of drugs, and I just figured, I need to remove myself from the situation. In doing so, with me having to remove myself from the situation, one of the guys got up and started calling me a pussy, throwing rocks, and then he kicked over a lady that I know very well. Her name, we call her Mom. He kicked over her thing. Then he started picking up rocks and throwing it at me. And, first of all, I should have been holding my gun like that instead of like that, because that makes it look very bad. But I just told him, you need to leave now, because he started. And the whole thing is I wasn't trying to hold him up. I wasn't trying to freak him out. I was just trying to get him to stop, but he was high on drugs. So he kept picking up rocks and throwing them at me. So as soon as that rock hit me in the back of the head, okay, I felt fear for my life. And that was an instant when I tried to go for his kneecaps to get him to go down, and I was going to call dispatch. But then what ended up happening is I shot him, and then he got up, and then he started saying he has a gun, and then he started reaching for something, and that was in the instant where I just unloaded on him.
At the crime scene, investigators documented the extent of Brandon's injuries in chilling detail. He was struck 5 times in the upper back, with bullets tearing through muscle and bone. 2 rounds shattered into his left leg, disabling his ability to stand or flee. Additional shots pierced both arms, leaving defensive wounds that suggested he had no chance to shield himself.
Okay. Sure, are you okay?
Westbound on 30th.
Are you okay? Medics 1018. No, it does not appear to be breathing. I'm right at the entrance to Safeway by the gas pumps. Medics 1018, please. Multiple gunshot wounds.
And I would have never done anything like that.
Let's kind of slow down. I know you gave me a whole lot of information, which is what I definitely need.
Okay, you need me to go slower.
Yeah, so what's your girlfriend's name?
My girlfriend's name is Mackenzie. Of course. So Mackenzie wasn't involved. She was inside of Safeway. She came out to the truck with Gatorade and Pepsi, which is I was going to take it to the homeless people in the back. Okay.
So who was present?
Okay, so Mackenzie Woodworth was not present. Okay. She had nothing to do with it.
Not present.
She was not present, no. Now, I told my wife that I was going to walk over there and I was going to try to round up some homeless people and see if they wanted to get some landscaping going.
So she was unaware of this?
Unaware of the whole thing. Okay. She came out, she texted me and said, and it's all in my phone if you guys want to go through that.
Okay.
She was unaware, and she basically had texted me saying, I'm out in the truck and I'm waiting for you. Okay? So I went out to the truck. We ran out to the truck, which the one thing is, you know, trying to catch up to Nick. I was trying to tell him something. I don't know if he heard me, but I was trying to say, we can't flee from the scene. You know, fleeing from the scene is probably the worst thing. He's all, come on, let's go home. So of course, in my mind, a flight or fight response kicked in, and I felt like, okay, it's time to leave then. You know, but then again, we should have stayed at the scene as it was, and then we could have handled it there instead. And then, I mean, it probably would have made the case look a lot better than it's looking right now. Because fleeing from the scene is a bad idea. And I know that because I'm working on my GED to become part of Farmington PD, but I don't know how that's going to look now.
Guillermo was already on the police radar, wanted in connection with a prior incident where he allegedly pointed a gun at another vehicle. Yet his primary concern was whether the incident would jeopardize his hopes of joining the police force. He insists he acted in self-defense, but his excessive detail and constant talking raised red flags, often a sign of overcompensation to make a story sound believable. And he didn't stop there. He staged the events to try to manipulate the truth.
Did this happen out in the parking lot?
The altercation with the firearm?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. And so you haven't been to the scene?
I have not been to this scene. I just want to identify people I need to talk, who I can round up. Here's a marker. Let's do this. So here is this huge building complex. You know, you got Best Buy, Petco, that clothing store, and then Safeway.
Okay.
And then we have we have this restaurant here.
Okay.
And then you have...
So where's Safeway at?
Safeway would be right here.
Okay, so in the parking lot, this is where I was parked. Okay.
You were parked here.
I was parked here. Okay. Now let's go up here. Okay.
In the back?
Just draw a square right there. Yeah. Okay. Now there's a square, that location, there's a hole in the fence in the back. You're going to find a couple holes in the fence. Okay. You go through that back area. You go up in there, there's a foresty area. You go all the way back there, that's where you're going to find Mom. That's where you're going to round up all these people.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they're going to be fled before y'all get to them.
Where did the shooting happen?
Okay, so the shooting in the parking lot. So if my truck is right here, this is the outlet, right?
Yep.
That goes in the street.
To the main street, yes.
The shooting happened in this vicinity.
Oh, okay. Just right here, right off the main street.
Me and Nick walked from the truck all the way over there to see if we could get these homeless people to start working.
Okay.
And that was my whole thing. We were walking over, I had my firearm with me and I had my taser on me. Okay. Now, initially I knew what I was getting into. I just had a bad feeling with the whole situation. So we walked into here, and there was a group of people here, obviously panhandling. The stop sign's right there, okay? Now, there was an individual that was laying down right here, okay? And that individual, native man, he was really high on drugs or whatever. So he was threatening this lady that was right here. As far as I know, he was threatening, and I just had got there, okay?
Okay.
Didn't know anything. The guy I shot, okay, was threatening to hurt somebody, or they were telling him he needed to leave because he was being disrespectful and a bunch of other things. So as soon as that happened, Ronald said, okay, you're going to have to tell that guy to leave. Okay, so I just got up and I said, look, Nick, I got to go, okay? I told Nick, he's all, no, you're going to stay with me, okay? Obviously, I stayed, okay, and I was just like, well, let's tell him to leave.
Guillermo insists he feared for his life, despite being armed with both a gun and a taser and having a friend by his side in public. Unlike most suspects who remained still and quiet, his restless body language and reenactment spoke louder than his words. His constant repetition of the same story suggested desperation, as he seems to be more focused on convincing the detectives of his innocence than to tell the truth. But what he doesn't realize is that his story is soon to collapse under the weight of damning evidence.
So he started yelling at me, and he started calling us just all kinds of stuff, and he was high on drugs. So at first my plan was to walk back to the truck and call dispatch, but then I knew that Ron was there and Mom was there, and I know they do drugs, okay? So I didn't want to get them involved in that because they're junkies as is. They don't have a life.
Okay.
I'm trying to help them out. Now, as soon as that happened, this individual starts throwing rocks at me, picking up piles of rocks and throwing them at me. And I had 2 or 3 that hit me in the back of the head. As soon as he started throwing projectiles at me, you know, he hit me in the back of the head, and then he started to reach for something. Okay. And in any type of footage, you know, I swear I saw him reach. As soon as he reached for something, I did pull my gun out and I did have it pointed at him, you know, or generally just pointed at him, get him to leave, say, you need to leave right now. Cause, you know, sense of, I didn't know if he had a firearm. I don't think he did. There's no reason he should have had one, but I was fearing for my life, you know. So as soon as I just saw him be picking up rocks and all this, then that's when I discharged rounds.
Okay.
And the whole thing that bothers me is that I was trying to go for his kneecaps, but he didn't do a damn, you know, I should have left at that point as soon as I discharged rounds, but it just leaving, I should have stayed at the scene, period. I just didn't know how in the hell to handle it, you know.
Sure.
So then he started he was already on the ground. I should have let him be, but then I unloaded my magazine. I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I had no intentions to hurt him. I had no intentions to do anything to him. I did not know who the individual was. I just knew that he was being crazy. He was kicking stuff around. He's throwing rocks. Honestly, if I had an air taser on me, it would have been better, but obviously I'm not a police officer, so I don't have anything like that. OC, nothing. I did not handle it in a proper way, so, you know, I feel like I'm going to be going to prison now because of the way that I handled that situation.
Guillermo's self-defense claim crumbled the moment detectives discovered that Brandon was unarmed and defenseless. Guillermo's remarks about the homeless, calling them junkies and dismissing their lives as worthless, exposed a condescension and a disturbing lack of regard for human life, insisting he was just trying to help them out. He speaks with a twisted sense of superiority, as if casting himself as some kind of higher power. Throughout the interrogation, Guillermo showed no genuine emotion or remorse, and the longer he talked, the more his words peeled back the mask, exposing his true character. Guillermo holds tight to his self-defense story, but detectives will soon uncover the one thing he cannot deny.
From what you remember, I need to place people at that corner.
Okay.
So Mom and Ronald were there, Nicholas was there.
Yes, sir.
And this guy was throwing rocks. Who did he throw rocks at?
He threw rocks at me and Nicholas was peacefully trying to get him to leave, and I was peacefully trying to get him to leave. As soon as I pointed my firearm at him, I said, look, you need to leave now. I felt threatened for my life, okay? So I pointed my firearm at him, okay, and I wasn't holding it properly, okay, but I felt threatened. And I thought he was going to walk away. He didn't walk away. He continued to aggress. And the whole thing is with me is I didn't know if he was going to chase me down. I didn't know if he's going to come. He's older than me. He's older than Nick. I didn't know if he's going to chase us down. I had no idea what was going to go on. So I used my firearm in self-defense. I had to do what I had to do, and, you know, I've lived with an alcoholic father for years. I've had to deal with stuff like that before. Now, in the case that I've never discharged around anybody, this is the first time that I've ever had to use my gun for, you know, self-defense, and I should have never had it on me. Because I've seen cases like this. You know, I watch Blue Activity all the time. I've seen cases like this where the guy that acts in self-defense is the one who goes to prison, and plus, I don't even know if that guy is dead.
He says, well, you said I have a gun.
Yeah, very true.
And then you described him after throwing the rocks that he put his hand behind his back, what you were just demonstrating.
I went for the kneecaps, he went like that, and I thought he was going to grab a firearm, so I just unloaded. But the way that I did it is I went like that.
Okay.
Okay, because I didn't know.
How close were you to him?
Okay, so this is a small room, okay?
Yeah.
So
is it a greater distance in this?
Yeah, so you're kicking. Okay, so he kicks a bluish tub, and then he starts picking up rocks. You're picking up rocks, you're throwing rocks at me, okay? And I started putting my head down like that, and he picks up another pile and he threw it at me, and then I just went like that. And then that's whenever I went ahead and I tried to go for his kneecaps to immobilize him. Okay, and it didn't work as well. He went like that, you know, he's like, what's that? That's a gun? So he's high as drugs, you know, obviously anybody sees a gun, they're going to run, you know, but everybody was just calm about the whole situation. So first I was about to just put it away and start running, but then I felt like he was going to get up. So then what I did was I just continued to unload on him.
And what was when you were the second time, what was his body position?
His body position?
Yeah. You just put him on his knees.
I put him on his knees.
Okay.
And I didn't know what he was going to do, if he was going to get up and chase after me. I don't know. So his body position was like this. Okay, and my whole thing was Then I just shot 2 or 3 more rounds, and then he fell to the floor, and he was done. And my entire thing is I was not aiming for the head. I was not... Center mass is what I was trying to aim for. It went from his legs to center mass. Because the whole thing is the way that you know how recoil is? Okay? Recoil went to center mass. I was trying to get his knees. And the whole thing is I just hope I didn't kill him, because that was not my thing. I was not trying to hurt that man.
So initially you were shooting at his kneecaps, and then when he went to the ground, or when he was on his knee, you went for center mass? Is that... I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Okay, the recoil caused me to go to center mass.
Okay.
Boom, boom, kneecaps, boom, boom, center mass.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're aiming for kneecaps, but the recoil was sending you to center mass. Okay, so you weren't intentionally shooting center mass.
I wasn't intentionally trying to kill him, no. I was trying to immobilize him.
Okay.
And whenever you question everybody, I don't know the guy from Jack. He was just aggressive. I don't know him from anywhere, Adam.
Guillermo clings to denial, casting Brandon as the aggressor and leaning on a self-defense claim to reduce his charges. But the damning footage, captured by a courageous witness, tells a very different story.
Hey! I got you on video! So, like I said, I'm Detective Monclova. So what can you tell me? What happened?
So I was coming to Tomos, and I pulled in from the turning lane here, and I heard this gentleman. I don't know his name.
Okay, so hold on. You were coming from on Main Street?
Yeah. And I turned
eastbound?
here,
Okay.
and I heard the gentleman here tell him, "Leave me alone, you punks, I'm gonna slap you." And I just continued on my way, went and parked over in the red Toyota that's sitting over there in Tomos. And I got down, and the kids were like, the guys were like pushing him, and he was throwing rocks at him. And I hollered at him, "Leave him alone, you little punks." And it wasn't stopping, so I pulled out my phone and started recording. And when I was walking towards them with the phone recording, the kid pulled out the gun.
What was the kid wearing, the one that shot?
I don't even know what the clothes were like.
Okay.
I mean, it's in the video.
Okay.
But I just know he had a ball cap on, and he had like long, shaggy hair. The one that done the shooting.
Okay.
The video shows Guillermo firing at Brandon, who collapsed instantly, only for Guillermo to unleash another 8 to 9 rounds. When a witness screamed that she was recording, Guillermo dismissed her with a callous, "Good for you." Investigators later recovered multiple shell casings, but no weapon was found on or near Brandon. The cell phone footage shattered Guillermo's self-defense claim, revealing an unprovoked escalation of violence. Brandon's empty hands and a defensive posture made clear he posed no threat. Armed with this evidence, detectives pressed Guillermo once again, offering him one last chance to tell the truth before confronting him with the facts that will seal his fate.
You said that you mentioned about the gun thing. When did that happen?
The gun happened, I'm pretty sure, after he kicked it, okay? I wish I could give you a whole...
Okay.
Once you see the video, you will see everything.
Okay.
If the street lights are recording, business is recording, you guys do a full investigation, which I'm sure you will see all angles of what happened.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you the best of what happened. I'm not trying to lie to you in any way, shape, or form. So the guy kicks it, okay?
Okay.
Flies past, okay? Picks up gravel, starts throwing it, okay? This was in the time, I had told him to leave. I said, "Look, you need to leave now, okay?"
At what point did you get your gun out? Is the main key?
I got my firearm out as soon as, I got my firearm out as soon as he started rolling into threats. Started to get crazy, kicking, throwing, just all kinds of stuff. That's when I had my firearm out. I pointed at him and I said, "Look, you need to leave. You need to leave now." Okay, because I felt like my life was in danger. I was protecting everyone else around me, but at the same time, I was protecting myself.
And this guy here was just kicking gravel?
Just acting crazy. He was high, drunk. I don't even know what he was on. It had to have been methamphetamine because he wasn't scared of the firearm. He's like, "You're this and that." And as soon as that happened, I brought it down from center mass to the kneecaps. I fired at the kneecaps. That'll be in the recording. You'll see that. Fired at the kneecaps. That's whenever he did that. And he's like, "What's that, a gun? This and that." And it's insane to me because everybody would react completely differently when they see a firearm. I was trying to defuse the situation, but I did it wrong. Period. You should never bring a firearm out unless the aggressor has a firearm. But then again, you never know if they have a firearm. That's why I was saying, reaching for something. As soon as his legs went down, I could have swore I seen him for reaching, okay? Reaching for something in his back pockets. And that's when I continued to just let it out, you know, because I did not have any, I didn't know if he had something on him. I didn't know if the individual was going to get back up, because people on meth, they could take a lot, you know, they could take a beating. So I didn't know if he's going to get back up, try to get me, pull me down, take my firearm, and then start shooting everybody else. I don't know.
Okay.
Take my taser, beat somebody with it.
What you just described here to me, when did the rock thing happen? Okay.
The only thing that bothers me is that, did you guys find a firearm on him?
No.
No firearm.
No. And then like we saw the video. I saw a video, and
Was it how I explained it? Or was it
it shows him throwing a rock at you.
not a rock, a good chunk of rocks.
Okay. I just saw like a single rock that he threw, and then I saw you had your gun behind you.
Yes, sir.
And it shows when you shot him in the leg and he went down.
Yes, sir.
But right after that, we just hear pop, 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 like just you unloaded on him. So with the positioning of the rounds, they were all mostly on one side of his body. They were.
Did none of them were in his legs at all?
You did get his legs, but also when we've talked to a few people and people in the area. One it was the lady that recorded it, and another male who was driving or had just parked. And he basically gave us a different version. Both of them gave us the same version, but different from you. He said when he went to the ground, you just unloaded on him. He was not getting up. He was down on the ground when he shot. The video that I saw was not a full, like I said, we saw the first shot. He goes down on the ground, literally.
It was not my intention to kill him.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
He went to the ground, and then it was just not even a second later when you shot the rest of the rounds. So all this information was relayed to the district attorney's office. He was here. He was able to. I briefed him on everything, and his recommending charges. And it's going to be second-degree murder. We're going to be charged with, and I'm working on it right now. But also the other incident.
Charged with murder because that was self-defense.
Murder in the second, and you'll have a self-defense argument. You can bring it up at court.
So I'm going to jail tonight.
You are going to jail, and mainly the first thing you're going to go to jail for is the other incident. So the other incident from the other night, we actually have been looking for your vehicle.
The footage reveals an atrocious overkill. Guillermo kept firing even after Brandon collapsed, leaving no doubt that his actions were deliberate. The witness's heroic act became the key that secured justice. But was it a rash act in the heat of the moment, or the cold calculation of a twisted killer preying on the homeless? Guillermo Aguirre was charged with second-degree murder. He pleaded guilty and received a 15-year prison sentence, which as of the upload of this video, he is currently serving at the Lay County Correctional Center in Hobbs, New Mexico.